The sun was high, my pickaxe swung, a satisfying echoed as I mined more diamonds. Another successful day in Minecraft. I loved building my world, crafting tools, gathering resources. Little did I know this peaceful routine was about to be shattered. I decided to venture out a bit. My base was secure, filled with all the comforts a virtual adventurer could need, but there was always something tempting about the unknown. The thrill of discovery, the potential for rare materials, it always drew me in. As I walked, the sun began to set. Long shadows stretched across the landscape, twisting familiar shapes into ominous figures. The once cheerful chirping of birds was replaced by the unsettling hum of crickets. A shiver ran down my spine. I shook it off, telling myself it was just the game's atmosphere kicking in. The first star appeared in the darkening sky, and that's when I saw it. A tall, slender figure standing at the edge of the woods. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. The Enderman hadn't noticed me yet, or had it? Its head tilted slightly as if studying me. My finger hovered over the inventory button. Should I run? Should I fight? But I knew any sudden movement could be perceived as a threat. Then it happened. Our eyes met. The Enderman let out an ear-splitting shriek, and then everything went black. The silence in this place was unnerving. It wasn't a peaceful silence, but a heavy, oppressive one. Every so often, I would hear a faint rustling sound, something moving in the darkness just beyond my vision. My imagination ran wild. What lurked in this desolate wasteland? I started walking, hoping to find something, anything that could help me escape, but every direction looked the same. Endless darkness, punctuated by the occasional twisted, skeletal tree. These trees were unlike any I'd seen before, their branches reaching out like grasping claws. As I ventured deeper into this alien landscape, I began to notice strange symbols etched into the ground. They were intricate and angular, pulsating faintly with that same purple light. Then I heard it again, the shriek, closer this time, filled with a chilling rage. I broke into a run, adrenaline coursing through me. The shriek echoed behind me, closer now, urging me forward. My legs pumped, my lungs burned, but I didn't dare slow down. The darkness around me was absolute, making it impossible to see where I was going. Every shadow looked like a lurking creature, every rustle of gravel like the Enderman's footsteps. It was toying with me, herding me like prey, but to where? What awaited me at the end of this terrifying chase? As I ran, the landscape began to change. The flat, barren plains gave way to steep cliffs and treacherous ravines. I stumbled and fell, scraping my hands on the rough ground. Panic surged through me as I scrambled to my feet. I pressed on, my heart pounding against my ribs like a drum. The air grew colder, the silence deeper. I could feel the presence of the Enderman all around me, watching, waiting. The whispers started subtly at first, faint murmurs that seemed to emanate from the very air itself. I couldn't make out the words, but their tone was unmistakable. Menacing, mocking. The whispers grew louder, more insistent as I stumbled through the darkness. They seemed to be coming from the strange symbols etched into the ground, pulsating with their eerie purple light. I realized with a growing sense of horror that they weren't just symbols. They were words, an ancient language whispering secrets I wasn't meant to understand. Then, just as suddenly as they'd started, the whispers stopped. And then I saw it, a faint light in the distance, flickering like a beacon in the endless night. Hope surged through me, a lifeline in this sea of despair. Was it an exit, a portal, a sign of civilization in this desolate wasteland? I didn't know, but I had to reach it. It was the only chance I had. I stumbled towards the light, my legs heavy with exhaustion, my lungs burning with each breath. The ground beneath my feet was uneven, littered with jagged rocks and treacherous crevices, but I pushed on, driven by a desperate hope that this wasn't the end. As I drew closer, the light grew brighter, revealing the outline of a structure. It pulsed with the same eerie purple energy that permeated this entire dimension. The structure had an archway, an entrance beckoning me closer. Hesitantly, I stepped through, my senses on high alert. The air inside was thick and heavy, filled with the same unsettling energy that permeated the entire dimension. But there was something else too, a faint humming sound that seemed to vibrate deep within my bones. The interior of the structure was surprisingly spacious, a large circular chamber with a high ceiling lost in shadows. The walls were adorned with more of those strange glowing symbols, pulsing with an eerie purple light. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and on top of it rested a single object, a book. It was bound in what looked like obsidian leather, its pages blank and shimmering with an otherworldly glow. As I approached, the book seemed to pulse with energy, as if beckoning me closer. I reached out a trembling hand, drawn to the book by an unseen force. Standing before me, its glowing purple eyes fixed on me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine, was the Enderman. It had been waiting for me, I realized, leading me on a terrifying chase through its twisted realm, only to bring me here. But why? The Enderman stretched out one of its long, spindly arms, its clawed fingers brushing against the book. As it did, the symbols on the walls swirled and pulsed, and the book itself began to glow even brighter. I felt a strange pull towards the book, a compulsion to open it, to see what secrets it held. With trembling hands, I reached out and opened the book. The pages were filled with symbols, but unlike the ones on the walls, these seemed to shift and change before my eyes. The symbols began to burn into my mind, searing themselves into my thoughts. Images flashed before my eyes, strange landscapes, alien creatures, and the ever-present glowing eyes of the Enderman. I cried out, trying to pull away from the book, but it was no use. It was as if I was being pulled into its pages, my very essence being consumed by the strange energy it contained. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The book slammed shut, the glowing symbols vanishing from its pages. The chamber was plunged into darkness once more, the only sound my own ragged breathing. I stumbled back, my head spinning, my body trembling. What had just happened? I looked around for the Enderman, but it was gone. The chamber was empty, the only evidence of the creature's presence, the lingering sense of dread that hung heavy in the air. I saw a shimmering portal, its outline flickering like a heat haze. Was this my way out? Had the Enderman, in its own twisted way, set me free? I didn't know, but I didn't hesitate. I stepped through the portal, and a wave of nausea washed over me as I was pulled through the fabric of reality itself. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my Minecraft world. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the familiar, blocky landscape stretched out before me. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe it had all been a dream, a terrible nightmare induced by spending too long in the mines. But as I looked down at my hands, I knew the truth. They were still blocky, still pixelated, but they seemed different somehow, and when I looked in the reflection of a nearby pool of water, I saw the truth reflected back at me. My eyes, once a dull brown, now glowed with a faint purple light.